Nothing screams college football is back like some preseason media polls. And in today's video, we'll discuss the first one to be released in the coaches poll. Are the Red Raiders ranked? And if not, how many votes are they receiving? Plus, where do other Big 12 schools land in the top 25 in the others receiving vote category? Plus, later on in the video, we'll give you updates on everything you need to know on Texas Tech's offensive line. Where do some of those hurt members of, well, a lineup that needs to be better in 2024 stand? We'll discuss that and much more. Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's RC Maxfield here for the Back to 12 podcast, and no promo or anything like that today. All I want you to go down to the comment section and do is type 806 or HBD to wish the head ball coach himself, Joey McGuire, a happy birthday. Is there a more fitting birthday for the head coach of Texas Tech football? 806 in the 806. I mean, he was destined to be the Texas Tech head football coach. If you want to wish Joey McGuire a happy birthday, head on down to the comments and either type 806 or a capitalized HBD. All right. Let's jump into this in terms of the coaches poll because, again, there's going to be a ton of polls that come out, right? And I get it. They're meaningless. It doesn't mean anything. I want to be the underdog, a lot of fans say. I get it. But I think it's interesting to see where some of these national pundits and some of these guys that watch a lot of college football and some that don't rank the Red Raiders or give them votes. Here's the thing. Are there any surprises in the Big 12? We will talk about the top 25 right now in terms of where 5 Big 12 schools rank. Starting with the highest ranked team, that would be the Utah Utes. No surprise there. They come in at number 13 in the coaches poll. We've got a duo back-to-back at 17 and 18. The Kansas State Wildcats come in at 17 and the Oklahoma State Cowboys at 18. Arizona, even with a new head coach there, and they lost quite a bit of talent, but also retained a lot of their talent, I should say, in terms of McMillan at the wide receiver position, and Noah Fafita at quarterback, the dynamic duo that's been playing together since 8th grade. They come in at 21, and then you've got the Jayhawks. Well, I guess both of the Sunflower State teams are involved in the top 25 with the Kansas Jayhawks at number 24. Now, the other 4 Big 12 teams receiving votes, they're led by West Virginia. The Mountaineers get 22 votes, Iowa State with 15, and then your Texas Tech Red Raiders with 4, followed by the last of the 9 in terms of receiving votes or ranked in the Big 12, which is the Colorado Buffaloes. That seems weird to me, but I guess it's the Coach Prime effect on that regard. When it comes down to it, is Tech in a good spot? Yeah, I mean, if we're being honest here, I feel good about this Texas Tech roster. I think that this is one of the deeper teams that Texas Tech has had in a long time. And we know what it's going to come down to if you're a Red Raider fan in the sense of if Texas Tech wants to reach their ceiling. Can they keep number 2 upright? That's it. If Baron Morton's healthy, you probably add maybe a game or 2 to your win total in 2024. But that's a big sizable if, because you think about the last 2 years for Texas Tech, they have started 3 different starting quarterbacks both years, okay? Obviously not ideal. Offensive line, we will talk about that here in just a second, was a massive priority for the Red Raiders in the offseason. But if you think Texas Tech should be anything more than just receiving a few votes, we're going to have a conversation here because, yes, did they overachieve with all of those injuries last year and really the year prior? Yes, I think that they did. But, again, it's, a put up or shut up. Prove it to me. In terms of staying healthy, and obviously football is a very physical game. Freakish things happen, right, in terms on the injury front. But also, this is a deep Texas Tech team. I think they can prove a lot of people wrong from this preseason coaches poll. Again, receiving 4 votes behind Iowa State, West Virginia, Kansas, Arizona, Oklahoma State, Kansas State, and Utah. The last 5 of those schools that I listed off are actually in the top 25. I think Texas Tech has a really solid roster, but once again, you got to prove it, right? At this point, no hype anymore. Let's see some results on the field, and that comes down to if you can keep the quarterback upright, because let's face it, this roster as a whole has a ton of talent. All right, before we get into the offensive line injury updates, do me a quick favor real quick. Like the video, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and hey, we want as many Texas Tech fans here as possible. Go tell 5 of your friends, 10 of your friends about the podcast. We're giving you 100% free content each and every day on Texas Tech football or men's basketball. We'll be doing live streams and much, much more interactive stuff, including an online dynasty for the college football 25 fans out there like myself. Hey, we'll be doing a live stream of that as well. So if you want to join the largest group of Texas Tech fans on YouTube today, just do these 3 things for me. Like the video, hit that subscribe button, and hey, just tell your friends about the podcast. Why not? It's completely free. What's the harm? More Red Raiders, the merrier, right? All right, some injury updates on the offensive line front, and we reported this over on the Scarlet and Black Insider. Jacob Harris doing a great job over there, keeping you in the know on all things Texas Tech football. Sterling Porcher had a hamstring injury, according to Joey McGuire, to start fall camp, and he is progressing in the right direction and could be expected to be back relatively soon, right? Again, hamstring injury, big physical players, obviously not ideal. Let's be real. Hamstring injuries are one of the most aggravating ones in terms of football because it's not a broken bone in the sense of like, it's broken, right? Hamstrings are so delicate, you can just re-injure it really just by walking, it seems like sometimes. But it sounds like he is headed in the right direction, and that is good for Texas Tech because right now I would project him to be the starting left tackle against Abilene Christian. Now, another injured offensive lineman and transfer offensive lineman is Davion Carter. He returned to practice on Monday after sustaining an ankle injury and was reportedly in a boot. That was all precautionary. He was back. He didn't look quite 100%, but effective enough, according to people with boots on the ground out there. Now, I've talked about him a couple of times here on the channel, and I think we need to discuss him more. You're starting to slowly see the wave of these McGuire, Blanchard, Nance recruiting classes in terms of the offensive line. And the guy that has been talked about the most this spring and really this fall in terms of upping his game and seeing the development leaps and bounds has been Dylan Shaw. Will he start on the offensive line for Texas Tech this year? Probably not, unless Rogers gets injured or something like that and he has to move over to right guard. But Dylan Shaw has really popped. It's just he's behind Vinny Scurry, arguably your best offensive lineman. And honestly, it's not arguably. He is your best offensive lineman at the left guard position. But it is good to see slowly but surely some of these young guys developing and trying to take on key roles. Even if it's on the 2 deep, that's better than what Texas Tech had really even last year when it came down to it. Another young guy that's stepping up and I think is probably going to be a starter for the Red Raiders is Sheridan Wilson. He is getting a lot of love, specifically in spring camp, and it is trickling into fall camp as well. As of right now, I think he is leading the battle to be the starting center for Texas Tech this season over the aforementioned Davion Carter. He's a guy that I think could really help solidify that offensive line for Texas Tech. He played a couple of snaps last year, really played pretty solid for being an underclassman, but he is a guy that I think as of right now will be the starting center for the Red Raiders against the Wildcats of Abilene Christian on August 31st. There's no 34 in August. What am I doing here? Out at the Jones. All right. So right now, this is kind of where we're at in terms of the projected offensive line. Not much has changed in my opinion. This is what I think will be the starting 5 in terms of the Texas Tech offensive line going into the first game of the year on not August 34th, like I just said. No, August 31st. So there we go. We're going to go from right to left here in the sense of we know who's going to be on the right side if everybody's healthy. We know that for certain. It is going to be Ty Buchanan at right tackle, Caleb Rogers at right guard. The aforementioned Sheridan Wilson is the projected starting center. And then we talked about Vinny Scurry already in terms of the solidifier on that offensive line and being your clear-cut best guy. He will be at left guard, the transfer from Toledo. Now, left tackle, that's kind of up in the air. And if Porcher's not ready to go, that kind of changes things, right? But right now, I'm going to project Porcher to be the starting left tackle for the Red Raiders in game number 1. So from, again, left to right, I don't know why I went right to left. Left to right here, you got Porcher, Scurry, Wilson, Rogers, and then TB and Ty Buchanan out there at right tackle. That's kind of where I think we're at. I've said that really all offseason long. That's kind of what I'm projecting there outside of really Wilson taking over for the center spot because I really thought for a long time there, Caleb Rogers was going to be the starting center potentially with Davion Carter at right guard, but Sheridan Wilson has taken that center job, and it feels like he could run with it, and that will move Caleb Rogers to right guard. And NFL scouts are really wanting to see that, according to Joey McGuire, in terms of boosting his potential draft stock, seeing him on the interior of an offensive line. All right, that's going to do it for today's video. One more time before you head out of here, head on down to the comments and type in 806 or a capitalized HBD for the head ball coach's birthday. Couldn't be more perfect, right? Head ball coach out in the 806. His birthday is 806. You can't beat that. So let Joey McGuire, hear it in terms of a happy birthday. And if you haven't already, be sure to like the video, hit that subscribe button, and you might as well tell some of your friends about the largest group of Texas Tech fans here on YouTube with daily 100% free videos. All year long, we're going to be doing live streams, injury updates, long-form podcasts, and everything in between. Join the fun right here on the Back to 12 podcast channel.